Hello. This is Xavier Pierre-Jerome. I am recording a video for Historical Methods. I am at Pope John Paul II's Park in Boston, which is a kind of national landmark of sorts, but it's also a place that's kind of like strangely dear to me, even though I'm not from Boston. And this park used to be a landfill. Um, this park is important to me because it is one of the major green spaces in and around Dorchester. It's really just on the outskirts of the highway, as you can see behind me over there. And it's right between the highway and the bridge to Quincy Narration. So it's very much on the outskirts of Dorchester, but it's a large, I think 60 to 80 acres of like green space. And it includes things like soccer parks, but also play fields, and just a lot of green spaces. It also features, being a previous landfill, a lot of reclaimed, created green space, whether that be like just a lot of grass, but also a lot of trees and a lot of marshlands. It's important to note for me that this area is effectively the Neponset lands, or the lands of the former Neponset tribes who lived here. That it was natural marshland and incredibly biodiverse, and was turned effectively into a landfill on the outsides of particular red line neighborhoods is like significant. And then also noting who has access to this lands now is also again significant. Being that it was natural, that it was diverse, that it was used up, and now that the people who have access to this land after some time have been outside of like red line gentrified neighborhoods, and effectively mostly those with cars because of its location. It's not a very accessible space, even as it's significantly used by folks in the neighborhood. That said, though, I want to point out the people who are here. I coach that soccer team somewhere in that direction at a Boston Collegiate Charter School just outside of JFK. We have to get a charter bus to come down here, and when it rains, as it did the last couple of days, it is incredibly damp. It's just really muddy. But it's still one of the best fields we have. The other options that we have is locally out by Carson Beach, which is also one of these sunken towns in the United States. If you go, say like a mile in either direction, because this is a very long park as part of the Neponset River Reservation, you'll also see like jogging pathways. A lot of people use this for commuting. So people on strollers, on bikes, unicycles, anything that they have. It is also a place where some folks have found degrees of housing because of its quietness, because it is relatively less alone, because it has outdoor porta potties. It's just a place where people can be in a place that is otherwise really expensive. They have playgrounds, they have benches, they have a lot of seating, and then one of the last things that they have, if you go all the way down to the river this way, is that they will sometimes have some boat launches, although they advocate for no swimming. They'll have some boat launches where people can effectively take advantage of the riverway out here. I'm gonna take a walk. It's probably gonna take me like 20 seconds if you want to just zoom through this. So I believe you have people biking, you have people going through. I believe right through that way is a boat launch. That is the bridge across to Quincy. There's a lot of history there. You also have a lot of recent developments in this area, but typically it's like pretty empty and barren. It is really cool. It is really beautiful. It's also just kind of really weird to be here knowing that. Oh, and then the last fun fact about this. This is named after Pope John Paul II, who I believe visited this park. And I don't understand why, personally. There's a complicated, heavy, toxic, violent relationship between the Catholic Church and like Native folks in the Americas. So living on, or standing on a beautiful natural park that has been reclaimed to be this natural beauty on lands of former Native folks, or Native folks who are no longer here, rather, and having access to communities of color that have been redlined and taken from it, but have it be renewed for other people who have access to it, and seeing those people come through here on a regular daily basis, along with folks who are unhoused, while also experiencing the joys of like soccer is just kind of incredible. But thank you all for listening to my video. This is why I spoke to Paul. This is why I chose this location. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.